Times like this, I really wish I had a GoPro. I can't really walk stably enough to keep that in focus. I can't really get quite the color that I'm seeing right now in reality. Right there in center field. That is the purest pink that I think I could imagine, because we've got the sunlight coming through at maximum length through the atmosphere from above the ocean, hitting it, and the cherry blossoms are resonating at that frequency just amazingly. Center field there, just past that appropriately enough blue car, is a very, very, I would say it's lavender going to mauve. Absolutely amazing color. Now, we're in an era where people take pictures and record everything, and I don't know why they save it and put it online. For the friends, I guess. I guess a few people, if they're very, very entertaining, get a fan following. This entire content creation reality is a very interesting one. In large part because people get to show their vacation slides and photos and get paid for it somehow. It's quite an amazing scam. Actually, no, it's not a scam. It's just a reality. That is an amazing shot, I imagine, even with all the cars. Very considerate of the cars to all be more or less in a light spectrum. Or not spectrum, I guess, tonality. But woo, there we have a little bit of what I can actually see with my real eyes. If I had a better camera, I probably would be focused on the camera itself. Instead, I get to actually have my eyes on the reality. And being aware of that as a conscious privilege is something worthwhile being grateful for in my reality. Wow, like just right here, these shadows. The camera sees pink-orange color. There's fields of softly interfering color ranging from almost complete violet through to almost a pale blue. I suppose one of the things I could go on about with this is the importance of the reality versus the simulation. If these cherry blossom trees were ever to not exist, this sort of image capture would be the material that game designers, movie makers, whatever, would be using for their reference in crafting possibly completely immersive realities for general consumption. That being said, in the circumstance where there were not these trees, and not this moment, not this light, whatever else, no one would ever actually be likely to experience what I am actually experiencing at this moment. I'm walking through a gentle cavern of muted blue with a little bit of warmth to keep it from being cold. I could wax poetic about it. That is not the color I'm seeing. It is nowhere near what I'm seeing. It looks like it's a bright day. No! The ground is blue. The greens, they're nowhere near this bright. It looks like it's about what? 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe. No. It's almost 8 o'clock. This is why the natural world, the real world, is actually worthy of protecting. For the reality of the experience. Maybe these words are of use to someone, and these words would not exist if it were not for the fact that, to a certain point, the reality is very, very threatened at this point. Living in a world that is completely landscaped, manicured, and controlled limits the range of one's experience to the artistry and ability of the human beings who are making the decisions about what to keep, what not to, how to shape. And when the only inspiration that a person has for call it the creative engine, the muse, the forge, whatever else, if that is limited to what is already of artifice created by human for human consumption, there's a limitation. There's still a capacity to do synthesis, to take the visions, the tastes, the aesthetics of different human beings and use those to create something that is at the very least novel and quite possibly like very in its own right beauteous, wondrous, or whatever else have you. But there is no room for the wild, for the ineffable, for the experience that a single person will have that they are not able to capture, cannot reproduce, but yet moves all of their envisionment and creative activity from that point onward. I think people will either get this or they won't, but it still seems like it is worthwhile to try to convey it to people who do not get it. And for those who do, hey, hearing it in someone else's voice is actually quite often reassuring and reinforcing of what someone already knows, particularly if their experience of it is not necessarily verbal in nature. Because, like, despite the fact that I myself am a very, very verbal person, I'm also very, very aware of the fact I cannot describe what I'm actually seeing And I cannot actually describe fully its impact on me. Reality's awesome, you know. Give it a chance.